Hello, it's Bill, the knee pain guru. Happy Labor Day. Today is Monday, September 2nd, 2019. Today, we're going to talk about how to increase the range of motion in a knee joint without forcing it. Very important distinction here. Without forcing the joint. We'll get in there. We'll talk about that in just a moment. We will be answering questions. This is a live presentation, at least at the time of this recording. So if you have questions about scar tissue, knee pain, range of motion, exercise, diagnosis, doctors, physical therapists, whatever it is, please put that in the comments section. I'll answer those at the end of the presentation. And also, if you're watching the replay of this, oh boy. Include your questions, even if you're watching the replay, because I include those questions on future videos. Should have brought water. Oh well. Okay. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to my channel, The Knee Pain Guru, as well as turn on notifications. And because I do these videos twice a week on topics that you're entering in either the live chat or the comment section, or questions that come in through my website. There's specific topics that are high leverage points in terms of understanding a different way of eliminating knee pain. And that's what's really key and really crucial, is that so many people are struggling because they're looking through a specific lens on how to get out of knee pain. And it leaves them stuck and frustrated and hopeless and helpless. It's like, I tried everything and nothing's going to help. So what we want to do is break down those beliefs and look at it through a different lens. And in looking at pain in the body through a different lens, knee pain, range of motion, scar tissue, whatever it is, we begin to understand it on a fundamental level as to what's going to work and what's going to help you the most get out of pain in the shortest period of time, because we're lining up your body's ability to heal. It has the infinite capacity to heal. If it's not doing so, what are we doing that is preventing it from happening? So now we're going to get into the presentation here. It's on how to increase the range of motion without forcing the joint. So it's important to look at what are we dealing with right now? What do most people that email me, leave questions and comments in the chat box, what are they saying? And a lot of times they're in this place of a conventional approach where they're strengthening the leg, and that's either stretching or strengthening the leg in terms of trying to get the full range of motion. This could be extension or flexion in the knee. They're trying to strengthen, they're trying to stretch. If that isn't getting it, then there's a bending or a forcing that takes place in physical therapy to try to get the range of motion in the joint. And the third option at that point, because they're not getting the range of motion in the joint with the forcing or the bending or the strengthening or the stretching, then the doctors propose manipulation under anesthesia. That's where they put you unconscious and then they force the knee to full extension or full flexion. Consequently, what happens is these approaches can be very painful. And you have to work really hard to get a little bit of results. And a lot of times those little bit of results keep us kind of motivated to keep doing it because, well, if we work really hard for a little bit of results, then we got to work harder to get more. And we get in this loop because the process is so painful, we kind of get on a hamster wheel. These approaches many times leave the knee in pain for days afterwards. Clients that I've worked with, they were in tears going to the physical therapist, like tears. They couldn't stop crying because it was so painful. So that pain wears on a person's resolve. It wears, like you don't get older, or we don't get any younger as days go by, and constantly be put in that position of pain just wears on the nervous system. It wears on our psyche. It wears on our emotions. And our resolve can go down over time, because who wants to go and be put into pain in order to get a little bit of improvement? So there's this kind of this diminishing returns, and then it's like, well, I'll just deal with it. That's just how it's going to be. And they resign that that's just how the knee is going to be for the rest of their life. Well, that's not necessarily true, because in order to increase the range of motion in the knee without forcing the joint, first requires a mindset shift. We can't go into understanding how to increase the range of motion in the joint like right off the bat without forcing it right off the bat. Because when we've had this mentality for a long period of time, that we've been pushing through the pain, no gain, pain is weakness leaving the body, and that's what we've been used to for a long period of time, it's very difficult to switch on a dime to go, oh, well, I'm not forcing it. Well, how is that going to happen? What does that feel like in my body? It's something different, but I don't know what that is. So first and foremost, we have to understand that there's a mindset shift. We have to look at the knee, at the leg, and at the body differently, because we're no longer looking at it on a physical level. Physical level is strengthening the legs, strengthening the hamstrings, the quads, the calves. And somehow that strengthening the leg is going to straighten it out or allow it to bend. That isn't working. So if we're looking at it differently, we can't go in with the same mentality, the same approach that we did before. Like Einstein said, we can't look at the problem on the level the problem was created. We have to come from a higher level. Understanding your neurology, the nervous system, is the key to understanding how to get the full range of motion in the knee, extension and flexion, without forcing the joint. So first of all, we get the understanding that it's the nervous system, it's the neurology that needs to change. Your neurology, which has locked into this place of going, I don't want to hurt anymore, right? Your nervous system, your nerves feel the pain, sends a signal of pain throughout your body, tells your brain your knee hurts. So when that injury first happened, your body went, tensed up to protect itself. Normal, natural response to a pain, accident, injury, trauma, surgery, whatever it is, whatever happened to your knee, your nervous system responded accordingly, and that took a snapshot of that experience, of whatever that was, and caused your knee to lock in place. Surgeries do not help dissipate the trauma. This is an important point. I made this mistake too. And I really want you to get this part, that even though a surgery is there to repair what is broken or torn, a ligament, meniscus, a tendon, a broken bone, that's important to get the knee mechanically sound. But what it doesn't do is dissipate the trauma that your nervous system has experienced. And that gets stuck in the neurology and causes your body to tense up. So your body's tensing up, your leg is tensing up, your knee is tensing up in anticipation of the pain. And now we're trying to strengthen it, stretch it, force it to do something that it's already in fear of to move forward and do. So you can see there's an opposition happening in your body. And you can feel this. You can feel this in your body. You're like, oh, I want to move it this way. It just won't go. That's because it's like driving with your foot on the gas and your foot on the brake at the same time. It's an opposition. It's an opposition of each other. You can step on the gas harder. The car's still going to fight going forward because the foot's on the brake. So the mentality is we have to take the mindset off of stepping on the gas harder, and we have to put the mentality on getting the foot off the brake. And once we learn how to do that, now we can go back to the gas and press on the gas harder, which means now what this looks like for your understanding in your leg, in your knee, is we learn how to get the knee comfortable, which changes the neurological signaling in the knee joint, in the leg, and in the body. This allows a pathway for that trauma, that accident, the injury, the surgery, whatever has happened to your knee, a place to move out of the body. Now, once we get that level of comfort in the knee, now the range of motion increases on its own, regardless if you're dealing with scar tissue, regardless of how many surgeries you've had, regardless of what's happened to your knee. The knee joint relaxes, the range of motion increases. And when the range of motion increases and the pain level decreases in the knee, now we can go back and hit the gas harder, which means we can exercise more. Primarily because the body we've let go of the protective mechanism that is preventing it from extending or flexing. We have to know where we're at in order to be able to move forward. A lot of people in these YouTube videos get upset at me. They're like, well, you didn't show us how to do it. And I can't show you how to do it until you accept and understand the mindset required in order for what I have to show you to land. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. These videos are here to help educate you on a different way of looking at the body. This is important. So I have some other notes here that I wanted to share. Another important component to get the range of motion. Now that whole understanding of the nervous system, the neurology of what's happening as far as the trauma being stuck, not allowing the knee to fully extend or fully flex. We also have to understand that this is held in the entire body as well. We can't just isolate the knee. And you could think of the knee as the weakest link in the series of tension from the head to the feet. And when we stress that tension pattern, the weakest link's going to give. Well, what's going to give in this case is going to be your knee. Your knee is going to express the pain. We also have to dissipate the tension in other areas of the body, namely the hips and the lower back. We have to understand that this is a global issue your body is dealing with, which is a lot of times why people with knee pain, myself included, when I first had my surgery, I was fatigued by like late morning. I didn't sleep well the night before. That's kind of a baseline. But by mid to late morning, I was exhausted, partially because I didn't sleep well, but also partially because my body was fighting this oppositional tension pattern in my nervous system. My hips and lower back were grabbing to protect what I was dealing with, protect the knee. And I just felt fatigued. So it's important to understand that this is a global issue. We have to look at more than just the knee. Rafa, thank you for your question. There's a number of people on the call today. Would you please enter your questions in over on the side? If there's something that doesn't make sense, something that doesn't land, consequently, I get doctors and physical therapists and occupational therapists, massage therapists, acupuncturists. They question my approach, question the mentality, question the ideas that I'm presenting here. I welcome them because what I'm sharing with you is based on universal principles, universal truths, how the body works. And if there is something that is brought to the table that's in conflict with universal principles and truths, well, then one thing's going to happen. Either my perspective is going to shift to line up with a universal principle or truth, or it's not going to be lined up, and then it doesn't really matter anyways. So if you have questions, please enter those in on the side there. Also, if you're dealing whatever questions you have about pain, knee pain, physical therapy, range of motion, exercise, your diagnosis, please enter those in over on the side. We're going to be done in just a moment, and I'll answer Rafa's question here shortly. Okay, range of motion is not necessarily determined by the amount of scar tissue in the knee. This is huge. This is huge. Scar tissue doesn't determine the range of motion. The tension in your nervous system determines the range of motion. Now, the scar tissue can hamper that a little bit, but as soon as we start relaxing the tension in the nervous system, in the knee, in the leg, in the body, the range of motion increases on its own. We don't have to do anything else. And then the natural movement of the knee will break down the scar tissue that the knee is dealing with. A lot of the conventional approach is blaming it all on the scar tissue, is blaming it all on what the body has done to protect the knee from being injured further. And it doesn't make sense when I've had clients that have gone in and got all the scar tissue removed from their knee, and then the range of motion still hasn't changed. How depressing and frustrating and irritating is that? To have the solution be pointed to is that we remove the scar tissue to increase the range of motion, and we remove the scar tissue and the leg still doesn't have an increased range of motion. There's something else going on. So that's important to understand as well. And the last point here is the hips and lower back have to be taken into consideration. The knee is a hinge joint. It extends, it bends, and there are pulleys. It's a pulley and lever system in the body. And if the hip and lower back are holding on to a tension pattern, then what ends up happening is it locks up the knee. It's like, how can you bend your knee? How can you bring your knee up and bend it without bending your hip? I haven't figured out how to do it. If you do, if you know how, let me know, please. Okay, on to questions. We have a number of people here. If you have questions, please enter those in the live chat. I'll be addressing those. We have one that have come in so far, and we'll address those. Okay, Rafa Alani writes, is it true that the body can heal itself even if bone on bone in the knee? Okay, let's look at our definition and understanding of heal. This is important. Heal. What would be the only reason, or there's two reasons that I've, in working with clients over the past 11 years online, there's really two reasons why someone that gets diagnosed with bone on bone would go to the doctor in the first place. One is pain. The other is the range of motion. They don't go in there thinking bone on bone is their issue. They go in there with the understanding that it's pain or range of motion. Okay? Then they get the bone on bone diagnosis. So they immediately think the bone on bone has to heal in order for the knee to get out of pain or the range of motion to increase. So we want to get to this place of healing when healing really means absence of pain or increased range of motion. It's distinction. And what happens is it's lumped together thinking the healing of the bone on bone means the lack of pain or the increased range of motion. There's lots of people that don't have bone on bone that are in knee pain. This is important, and it's a little bit of a wordplay, but we have to understand the goal that we're shooting for. If we aren't shooting for being out of pain or increasing range of motion and flexibility and strength and mobility, if we're not shooting for that, we're just focused on the diagnosis, then you're going to kind of be on the hamster wheel with the medical model for the rest of your life. Now, it doesn't mean the doctors aren't important. If there's something broken or torn in the knee, I want the doctors there to fix it. Torn ligament or tendon, torn meniscus, broken bone. I want them to fix it. But the component that we're looking at is if we get the knee comfortable, we increase range of motion and your flexibility and mobility in your knee and in your body, and you still would go to the doctor and have a bone-on-bone diagnosis, would you care? It's a legitimate question, because now we focus on the outcome. Like, what is the outcome that you want? And we don't get mired in the diagnosis that you've been given. The diagnosis is an important component to get to the outcome, especially if something's broken or torn. Like, we can't straighten up the living room until we turn on the lights. So the diagnosis is part of that illumination of what we're dealing with. So we have the information in the room that we can organize it and then figure out our strategy out of that situation. Be it bone on bone, be it range of motion, be it scar tissue, be it pain after ACL reconstruction, meniscus repair, or Baker cyst, chondromalacia. It doesn't matter what you were diagnosed with. We just need to gather the information to figure the path out of pain. So Rafa, let me know. I talked a lot about that. They made a joke about my grandfather. And they said, if you ask him what time it was, he would tell you how to build a watch. But it's in order to understand, we have to look at a broader perspective in order for you to be empowered to choose how you want to get out of pain. Some people are completely content at going for a knee replacement surgery, getting the bones in their legs sawed off and replaced with plastic and metal. I do not fault those people, but I want it to be a conscious choice, because I got a father and I've got buddies in martial arts that they were sold the bill of goods that this knee replacement was going to be the be all end all and their life would be normal afterwards. And I got buddies that can't even squat down on the toilet properly because of the range of motion in the knee. They can't squat all the way down heels to butt. It just doesn't happen. The mechanics of the knee replacement doesn't allow it for that to happen. And if you're watching this, I want to give you the information so you can make a conscious decision, a conscious choice, that it isn't, well, I have to suffer or I have to get a knee replacement surgery. That's just not how it is. Or if you're struggling with range of motion and scar tissue, that's just not how it is. There is another choice. There's another option. There's a broader perspective. We need to change our mindset first in order to get there. Okay. If you got questions, please put those in the comments section. I got one here from Patrick. It says, how should I increase range of motion with tight hip flexors? Okay. That we need to understand more in order to get, so I can answer the question like you would like it, Patrick, or to understand the result you're wanting. Are you wanting to increase the range of motion in the hip flexor? Or are you looking to increase the range of motion in the knee? They're two different ranges of motion. They're interconnected. But it's important in asking of the question that we're specific, or like the specificity of my answer is going to help you get clear. The specificity of the question is going to allow you to get the answer that you're looking for. There's distinctions and nuances in understanding the body in a different way that need to be brought to the table. That a lot of times we lump knee pain, it's one big rock, let's say, and it's knee pain. How do I get rid of knee pain? Well, now we have to understand, is the knee pain in your kneecap? Is it in the back of the knee? Is it on the inside of the knee? Is it on the outside of the knee? Is it outside above the knee or below the knee? Is it inside above the knee or below the knee? Does the pain go down your shin? Does the pain go up your thigh? Does the pain go up the side of your leg? These are all different types of knee pain. They all express different tension patterns in the body. And if we're coming at knee pain and just say, well, Bill, my knee hurts, I got to do something for, what do you got for knee pain? I got a lot. And there's a lot of different ways to approach it. And we need, like as a group, we need to raise the level of awareness of what's going on, because the only difference between someone that had knee pain and that's out of pain, that has worked with my program, is the awareness and the empowerment of what to do when the pain happens. They know that when I'm working with them, if their kneecap hurts, they need to go to Module 8. They know if that IT band up the side of their leg hurts, they do Module 1. They know if the inside below the knee joint hurts, then they're going to do Module 3. And if their meniscus hurts on the inside or the outside of the knee, they do Module 40. So there's specificity in understanding how to create comfort, get the pressure off the nerves, change the neurology in the knee joint so the pain goes away. Now, you may be sitting there going, Bill, that's a lot of information. I get it. And I don't want you to stress out about that, because I make it super simple. You get 3 steps. Every time we connect, you get 3 steps. Those are the next 3 things that you need to do until the next time we connect. That's all you got to do. Nothing else, nothing more, except give me feedback. You do the homework, and then you give me feedback the next time we connect. So that's what we got here. Okay, Jay writes, Patrick, I'm still waiting for you to reply to me there. Jay writes, I've been diagnosed with degenerative arthritis in my knees, and I'm just wondering, can I get past this and run again? Also, I have been a studier of martial arts and would like to, and I bet you hit return before you were done. Okay, Jay, yes. Here's what happened. All diagnoses of arthritis, this is important for everybody to get this. All diagnosis of arthritis is dehydrated joint. Bottom line, end of story. The joint gets dehydrated. Well, what happens when a joint gets dehydrated? There's no lubrication, which means the joint wears. And arthritis, if you look at it underneath an x-ray, it looks like someone poured battery acid in the joint. When the joint isn't lubricated enough and there's not enough, essentially, water in the joint, it gets more complicated than that. Ask a doctor. But essentially, the body doesn't have enough water. So what it does is it goes to the bones and the synovial fluid in the joints to rob those places in the body to make sure the brain and the blood are functioning properly, because your body's designed to keep you alive. Your joints aren't a high priority. So we need to make sure the body's hydrated first. Next piece, Jay, I could do an entire video, entire training on this. Essentially what happens is martial artists are famous, me too, having a lot of tension in the hips and lower back. That's just how it is. And what happens is the hips and lower back are designed to be like the shock absorbers. Like when you walk, your spine is supposed to have an S-curve shape, and that is supposed to absorb the shock when you walk. Your pelvis is to be able to flex and extend. And that's supposed to work in conjunction with your spine to absorb the shock when you walk. When the tension goes into the hips and the lower back, the spine begins to straighten out and the pelvis gets locked in place. So the pelvis is no longer doing the shock absorption. The knees end up doing the shock absorption. So it feels like jarring when you're walking, which contributes to the tension in the knee, which squeezes out the synovial fluid in the joint. It also causes the joint to become the shock absorption joint, and it isn't designed to do that. So it ends up being painful. The joint degenerates and things like that. So it's a bigger picture of what's going on. To answer your question directly, yes, you can get past this, but you're not. I bet dollars to donuts. You're not going to get past it working with the conventional approach, because their focus is on strengthening and stretching the body or numbing the pain and hoping those tension patterns won't be there when whatever they're trying to numb the body with, drugs, shots, when that drug has worn off. They're hoping that the tension pattern is going to be different. But just like in martial arts training, we're training our neurology to respond a certain way with a punch or a kick or a throw, or an elbow, whatever that is. We have to train our neurology to respond a certain way when a person attacks. Your neurology, Jay, has been trained to hold a certain tension pattern where the tension goes into your knees and you got the jarring going on. So we need to take a step back and begin to learn how to change the neurology that's going on in the knee, the hips, the lower back, basically from the head to the feet, while setting up the conditions in your body so it can heal once we've made those neurological changes. And then we got to keep your mindset in a good place, that once we start getting your knees comfortable and your activity level starts increasing, that we're not going to go off the deep end and you try to run a marathon after you just got your knee comfortable. It's an exaggeration there, but it tends to happen. Like, I made the mistake too. I get out of pain. This was after my surgery. I'd be out of pain. I'd feel real good. I go right back to judo practice without any stretching, without any mobility or exercise or anything to get my body prepared. And then bam, I was right back in the same boat again. So many people with knee pain can relate to this and understand this, because that's just what happens. We feel good. We think, okay, right back on that horse again. We have to take it in baby steps. We have to be intelligent about increasing our movement and mobility in an intelligent way that we can measure, and that we also, if the body goes back into pain, if the knee goes back into pain, that we've developed the skill and proficiency to get the body back out of pain. That's key. It's one thing to exercise. It's one thing to push. Martial artists are great at that. What we need more work with is the recovery, the healing of the body after we've pushed it. Jay, tell me, did it land? Rafa, did I explain the bone-on-bone piece for you? Patrick, I still haven't got a... did that land for you? And Jay, let me know how that is. If there's someone else here on the line that has questions, please type those in the live chat box over there, and I will address those. Today is Labor Day, so my daughter's in the other room being really great today. We've been going a good half hour here. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to my channel, The Knee Pain Guru. Turn on notifications. Also, if you have, share it with your friends. Share this video with your friends, because there's a lot of people limping. that need this different approach. They're on that hamster wheel of, exercise and drug shot surgery, all that kind of stuff, and it's not getting better. So the information. No, Jay. It's not stretching. It's not stretching. It is neurological. It's the changing of the neurology in the knee joint. I could say head on over to my website, the Knee Pain Guru. I have a video over there for you to sign in. Get on my newsletter, thekneepainguru.com. And this is why it's so important. We change the mindset, the mentality first, because we default to what we know. We default to what we're familiar with. And to this point, you've been familiar with exercise and stretching. And maybe that's it. And what I'm talking about is a very different, specific approach that works with the intrinsic movement of the joint. Apples and oranges, like we got exercise and stretching over here, we got neurological re-education of the joint over here. It couldn't be more polar opposite. So the interesting piece is when I'm explaining this, I need to use analogies so your brain can latch onto it. And that's why I don't go into like showing you how to do this now, because the brain couldn't wrap around it to begin with. We got to give a reference point of something different than exercise and stretching. Head over to my website, get on my newsletter. I do daily tips and tricks and trainings on how to work with your knees differently, and it'll be helpful for you. And not necessarily great quantities of water, because it gets into more details. There's more details on, you could drink all the water in the world, but if your body doesn't have the right mineral balance, you could be flushing the minerals out, and now you got issues with the legs cramping, and there's not enough minerals to actually flush out the toxins. There's a whole branch of that we would need to get into. So, Jay, at this point, I just go over and get on my newsletter. Okay, Patrick says, pain is in the lower hamstring. Visited 2 chiros, 1 diagnosed tight hamstring, other tight hip flexors. Main problem is kneeling and squatting. So there is tension patterns. This is everything that I said in the beginning about range of motion in the joint. We have tension patterns that are going on from the head all the way to the feet. The hips are tight. The hip flexor is tight. The hamstrings are tight. The quads are probably tight. Your psoas, which is the muscle in your lower back, is tight. So we have to look at the larger patterns that are going on. It isn't enough to just say, okay, stretch your hamstrings, or stretch your hip flexors, or stretch your psoas. Those are all isolated, and it isn't addressing the reason why those muscles are being tensed up to begin with. You could have a job where you're standing all day. You could have a job where you're sitting all day. You could have a job where you're walking all day. There is a lot of, you could have a high stress job. There is a lot of dynamics that are going on in order to address why all of these things in your body are tight. You got to zoom out, and we got to look at, not only give you things to do to empower yourself to relieve this tension and get your body to recover faster, we also have to look at how can you incorporate these things into your life while you're standing, or while you're sitting, or while you're lying down, or while you're walking. Like, there's ways of changing the neurological wiring in your body in all of these different areas. So we have to get a baseline, what we're starting with, the problems with the kneeling and the problems with the squatting, and begin to give your body these neurological signals that teach it to recover faster, teach it to let go of the tension, teach it how to relax faster. And when you teach the body how to relax faster, your recovery time speeds up or reduces the amount of recovery time, which means you get better quality sleep and you're not so stressed during the day. The body isn't holding so much tension during the day. We would incorporate stuff like what I had spoke about with Jay, as far as increasing water intake, and not just blindly like guzzling down water. We have to look at, are you peeing a lot after you drink all that water? Because if you are, then you don't have enough minerals to have that water flush your system out. There's layers to this. I would have you go over and sign up for my newsletter as well. Do we have any other questions? Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to my channel, The Knee Pain Guru. Turn on notifications and share this video with your friends on Facebook, social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of good stuff, because this is good information that needs to be out there, and I appreciate your help. That this is not your conventional response, your conventional approach to relieving knee pain. So, how are we doing as far as questions go? Anyone else? Jay, Patrick, Rafa, other people here. We do these videos twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. We'll be having another one Thursday. We'll probably, let's see, might be arthritis or something like that. Looks like a good topic for Thursday. We'll talk about. In other news, I have if you're interested, that I have a live event that's coming up in the Asheville area, Asheville, North Carolina, September 28th. So if you're interested in that, please send an email to customer service at thekneepainguru.com, or you can go on the products link on my website and check that out. A full day, we're going to dig into all of this. So, let's say Jay, I would look at how he's walking, how he's sitting, how he's standing. We would give him the specific tools to use to relieve that, run into any beliefs that's preventing him from recognizing when comfort happens, the neurological shifts that take place. So we have a full day, Saturday, September 28th. And then you also have support in my group coaching program, Knee Club. We meet twice a week in a private Facebook group. We meet Mondays and Thursdays as well, Monday afternoons and Thursday mornings. And I give you the specific videos. So based on where you tell me your knee hurts, I would give you the homework, which means you watch the videos, which was going to give you relief and give you comfort in the area of the knee that you're having problems with. And then on the next call, you say, hey, Bill, modules 1 and 2 worked great. I didn't feel anything in module 8. In module 40, relieved what was going on the outside of my knee. I was like, okay, well, tell me what was going on when you did module 8, or what happened. And then from there, it builds the conversation to understand how you're developing the different neurology, how to latch on to what is difficult to understand, because we're creating a contrast. Right now, pain is lumped into one big glob of stuff, and you either have pain or there's a little bit less of pain. And what we need to do is start separating that, to recognize that when we start creating comfort and the pain is reducing, that it's actually something else to pay attention to other than the pain. This is part of the mindset piece, when neurology only focuses on pain. And it's an easy trap to get set into, because that's how we're hardwired. We're hardwired to look for the threat. That's how our nervous system is hardwired. So we look only for the pain, the tension, the burning, the restriction of range of motion, or whatever that is. And we don't look at the distinctions and nuances that is being presented as a result of lining our body, our knee up with our body's ability to heal what's going on there. And that's what I help you learn and understand and bring into focus, so you stop focusing on the pain and you're looking for the opportunity. You're looking for, oh wow, I only held that for 30 seconds and my knee let go. Oh cool, but now the pain moved and the pain shifted. What do I do now? Or I did it and the pain went away for 15 minutes. Why did it come back? All of it leads down different paths, and we need to understand why that's happening and what's going on. And I basically take you by the hand. We have a full day together at the end of September, and then you have the knee club ongoing support, and that's all together in that workshop that we're having September 28th. Does anybody have any more questions? Oh, this video will also go out in my newsletter, and there'll be a link below the video for that live event. So if you're on my newsletter, you would get these. I would send these out a couple times a week to let you know these videos. And you got a cute little green button below that you could click on, and it'll take you for more information on the class, and reserve your space. I keep the class small, 10 people only, because I want to make sure everybody gets the individual attention they deserve, and we can really dig in and focus on what's going on with your knee, get you the results. The last one we did in June, it was really cool. I had a guy who had a stroke, had knee pain, kept falling and tripping, and what took place in the span of maybe 10, 15 minutes it was so cool. You just saw it shift in his body. He relaxed, and all of a sudden his leg got this range of motion that, just through comfort. So it's fun. I like working with clients like that. I like it's like this puzzle we got to figure out. Like, what did you do and what do we need to do to unlock it? That's essentially what the class does, is it gives you the key to unlock what's going on in your body. Okay, we don't have any more questions. I'm going to scoot here. Thank everybody for being here. It's been great. This was a real good one. A lot of great questions, a lot of different topics. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends, get the message out. Okay, this is Bill Paravano, the Knee Pain Guru, thanking you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next video.